Hello, Math 96. Happy Monday or Tuesday, depending on what day you're watching this video. We're going to go to your white notebook, page 81, and we are skipping pages 74 through 80. And the essential question at the top of page 81 is, how is the remainder from long division expressed in the final answer of a problem? And by the end of this video, you should be able to say that you can divide rational expressions using long division. Tonight's homework is out of the textbook, page 404, number 34, 36, and 38, and those three problems will appear at the end of this video. Okay, so on the left side of your notes on page 81, I just want to do a quick review of long division, and I just kind of want you to listen because, oops, what's going on here? Lost my pens. Huh. There we go. Because I am going to show this a different way, and we'll explain it a little bit differently so that when I add in x's, it'll make sense to you. So if you would just pay attention for a minute. So when you're doing division, you're asking yourself, what goes up here? What number times 6 would give you close to 32? You could also say how many 6's go into 32. And the answer would be 5. And then what you do in your head is you multiply. 5 times 6 is 30. Now, it used to be that your teacher would say subtract, but actually what you're doing is you're changing signs. So this is positive 30. You're going to change it to negative 30, and you're going to bring down 32, and negative 30 is a positive 2. So this idea of changing signs is important for what we're going to be doing. So then you bring down the next number, and you ask yourself, what goes up here? What times 6 gets close to 25? Obviously, that's 4. 4 times 6, and I'm going to be calling this distribute when we start adding in x's. So 4 times 6 is 24. You're going to, again, change signs. 25 and negative 24 is 1, and you're going to bring down the back number of 3. And you're going to ask yourself again, what goes up here? What times 6 gets close to 13? Obviously 2. 2 times 6 is 12. And then you distribute. 2 times 6 is 12. You're going to again change signs. And that would be a 1. 13 and negative 12 is 1. Now this part we would call the remainder. And what we're going to do with the remainder, we're not going to write R1. That's very third grade. What we're going to do is we're going to take our remainder and we're going to add it to our answer. And it's going to be 1 over the divisor, 1/6. So the final answer of 3,253 divided by 6 is 542 plus a 6. That's the final answer. Okay? So this idea of changing signs is going to be important, and how you write your remainder with plus 1/6. All right, let's move on. So I'm going to skip down to to the notes for dividing by a polynomial. We're going to skip the top part for the monomial. If you can hit pause here and go ahead and write down those directions. Okay, so you're going to check for a missing term and add in 0x if needed. You're going to find out what multiplies to the first term, just like we did here. We figured out what multiplied to the first term of 32. And you're going to distribute your term on the top over to the side, just like we distributed 5 over to 6 for that 30. And then you're going to change all signs and keep repeating that process. So let's get started. So this first part of your steps says to make sure that you're not missing any terms. So this has x to the third, x squared, x, and no x. There is nothing missing on this example. Let me show you when there is something. On the next example, we have x to the fourth, x to the third. Uh-oh, you're missing x squared because it goes over to x, right? X to the fourth, x to the third, x. You're missing the x squared. So that's going to become important. for you to watch. Okay, so this one is not missing anything. We'll start with the easier one first. So what you're going to do is take the bigger part of the problem, or the longer one. You're going to put it inside here. And it's being divided by x plus 2. That's how you set up the problem. And then you're going to get started, and you're going to watch what I'm going to do here. You're going to always think about the first terms. So we're thinking about x and x cubed, and you're asking yourself what goes up here. What times x gives you x cubed? What goes up there? What times x gives you x to the third? Well, x to the x squared, right? X to the second. X squared times x gives us x cubed. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to distribute the x squared to both items. So x squared times x is x cubed. X squared times 2 is 2x squared. And now the very most important thing that you need to remember is the next step is to change signs. So you have positive x cubed, you're going to make it negative. You have a positive 2x squared, you're going to make it negative. Draw your line. X cubed minus x cubed cancels. Remember, there's a hidden 1 here. Negative 1x squared minus 2x squared would be a total of negative 3x squared, and bring down the next term. Just like in here, remember how it would bring down like the 5, bring down the 3. So you have to bring down your next term. And then we're going to start over. So we're going to focus on the front terms. Do not look at the red anymore. We're not looking at the red. We're down here in the blue. We're going to look at the first terms. And we're going to ask ourselves, what times x gives us negative 3x squared? What times x gives us negative 3x squared? What goes up there? Well, negative 3 and x. Negative 3x times x would match negative 3x squared. You're going to distribute that to both terms. So negative 3x times x is negative 3x squared. Negative 3x times 2 is negative 6x. And then the most important thing is to change signs. So I have a negative 3x squared, I'm changing it to positive. A negative 6x, I'm changing it to positive. And now things should cancel. 3x squared minus 3x squared cancels. 4x plus 6x is 10x, and I'm going to bring down the back, and I'm going to start over again. So I'm asking myself, what times x, whoops, I forgot to highlight this, matches the first term? What times x matches 10x? Well, it would just be a positive 10, wouldn't it? So then I have to distribute that to both items. 10 times x is 10x. 10 times 2 is 20. And then don't forget, change signs. So this will be a negative 10x and a negative 20. These cancel. 10x minus 10x. Negative 10 and negative 20 makes negative 30. I don't have anything else to bring down. That's our remainder. So this is our remainder. So remember, the remainder gets written over the whole divisor. So my final answer is a plus sign. Add the remainder, negative 30, over the divisor of x plus 2. And the top green is our final answer. So all of that is our final answer. Okay? All of that is your final answer. Okay, let's do one more. You can hit pause if you need a minute. Okay, now remember, this one is missing. Has x to the fourth, x to the third. It's missing x squared. So we're going to add in a 0x there. So right there, we're going to add in 0x squared. So where it's missing, you just put a placeholder. 0, and then the exponent that's missing. Then I'm going to keep writing plus x minus 1. Now this divisor goes on the outside, and it's just longer. It just means that you're going to distribute 3 times. So it's just a little bit of a longer problem. Okay. So we have to add in that 0x squared right where it's missing in there. Okay, let's get started. Focus on the front. So what goes up here? What times x squared gives me 2x to the 4th? Well, 2 and x squared, right? 2x squared times x squared is 2x to the 4th, isn't it? Let's try and get rid of that. So now remember you have to distribute, but this time 3 times. So 2x squared times x squared is 2x4. 2x squared times 2x is 4x to the 3rd. 2x squared times a negative 1 is a negative 2x squared. So you distribute. Then remember to change signs. So this will be a negative, this will be a negative, and this will be a positive. That way things cancel, right? 2x to the 4th minus 2x to the 4th cancels. Negative 4x cubed plus 1x cubed would be negative 3x cubed. And 0x squared plus 2x squared is just plus 2x squared. And then remember, bring down the next piece, okay? And then we start over. So we're not looking at the green, we're looking at the very first term of that blue line. And we're asking ourselves, what goes up here? What times x squared gives us negative 3x cubed? So it had to be a negative and a 3, and I need x cubed, so I need another x. And then we're going to distribute that to all 3 items. Okay? Negative 3x times x squared is negative 3x cubed. Negative 3x times 2x is negative 6x squared. Negative 3x times negative 1 is positive 3x. And then don't forget, you have to change signs. So positive, positive, negative. So 3x cubed minus 3x cubed cancels. 2x squared plus 6x squared is 8x squared. 1x minus 3x is negative 2x, and I have to remember to bring down the back. And we start all over. I'm going to highlight the first one. What goes up here? X squared times what gives 8x squared? Would be positive 8. And then I'm going to distribute that to all 3 items. 8 times x squared is 8x squared. 8 times 2x is 16x. 8 times negative 1 is negative 8. And then don't forget, change signs. Don't forget that part. So negative, negative, positive. 8x squared minus 8x squared cancels. Remember, this is a negative 16x minus 2x is negative 18x. 8 minus 1 is 7. Now, you can't go any farther because this is an negative 18x, and it can't be divided by x squared. So as soon as this x variable is less than exponent, because it's x to the 1, then you know you're done. You can't do any more because you can't work with x squared with this negative 18x. So that's our remainder. So we're going to add our remainder of negative 18x plus 7 over the whole divisor, x squared plus 2x minus 1. and everything you see in red at the top is the final answer. Okay, so as soon as this x variable is less than x squared, that's how you know that you're done. Okay, so here's your 3 homework problems. So hit pause and write those down. This one has x cubed, x squared, x, no x, so there's nothing missing. This one is missing 0, x squared, right? x3, x squared, x. And this one is out of order. So you have to put this in order. Oops, sorry about that. What happened? There we go. So you have to put this in order. Okay, add a 0x squared on problem number 36, and number 34 is fine. Okay, give that a shot, and we'll go over those later. Thank you, guys. Have a great day.